Hello. In this video we're going to look at how to write to a file in Python 3. Now this is just going to go over the real basics of how to do this. When you're reading and writing to files, it can actually get pretty complicated, and you're going to want to go and look at some documentation and examples to really make sure things work right. So it's important to note that if you just do a quick Google search for writing to files Python 3, you're going to get a whole bunch of examples that are really wonderful to use. You'll also get this link here, which is the official Python documentation on input and output. And so there's lots of information about how to input and output using Python 3 with examples. And if you search for the word files, you'll find a section on reading to writing files. And this includes a bunch of examples that are really nice to kind of help you kind of figure out all the ins and outs of reading and writing to files. So this is a line that's really important to us if we want to read and write to files. And let me show you how it works. So in order to read and write to files, you have to actually create a variable that is connected to whatever file you want to read from or write from. In our case, we're just writing to the file. In our next video, we'll look at how to read from the file. And the way we do that is we create a variable, and we use this built-in function called open. And it takes two parameters. The first parameter is the file you actually want to open, and that is create a connection to. So from this point on, whenever I talk about the variable f, I'm referring to the file that I open. And I'm going to open up, say, data.txt. And the second parameter tells the program what I want to do with this file. So in our case, we want to write to the file, so we're going to put a W here. So this says, I want you to open data.txt, and I want to be able to write to it, and that's it. And so to talk about that file, I use this variable f. So you'll notice now, if I enter a couple times, if I hit f dot, I get all these options, and these options are about things I can do to that file. We're not going to get into where to store files and different structures. All our files are going to be in the exact same directory as our Python file. So what you might notice right away is that if I look here in this folder, the only file in here is my writing to files demo. Watch what happens when I run this program. That text file appears. So Python 3 is smart in that if the file doesn't exist, it will create it for you, which is really useful. And now I can do this. I can do f.write, and I'm going to write something like line 1. And what I always want to do when I'm done with the file is I want to close it when I'm done. And this is just a good habit to get into. So this program is going to open a file called data.txt. It's going to prepare to write to it, and then I'm going to actually write the text line 1 to it, and then I'm going to close the file. So when I run this, and then I look back in this file, there's line1.txt. Wonderful. Now, what's important to note with the write parameter is that every time I do this, it actually erases the file and then kind of starts again. So if I put something here like, I don't know, some text, and I run this, what you'll notice is that the information that was in here is now deleted. So every time I write to a file, it erases what was in there and starts again. So let's just do this. Line 1, and let's write again. Let's write line 2. Okay. Now when I run this, it's going to write line 1 into the file, and then it's going to write line 2 into the file. And notice when I look at it, you see something that's funny that's kind of happened? Both of those are on the same line. What I really want is I want this. So the question is, how do I get it to write and then write the next line of text on a new line? And the answer is I make use of my escape codes. So if I put an escape code at the end of that line, each line, what it's going to do is it's going to write the text and then automatically go to the next line in the file and be ready to write. So if I run this now, there it is. Line 1, line 2. So the last thing I want to talk about is thinking about how you structure the data in a file. This is a really important step that people often overlook. When you're writing to files, you want to be very clear about the structure that you're using so that later on when you read from it, you know exactly you can predict how the data is going to show up in there. Now let me give you a little example here. Let's imagine I want to write a program that's going to take a name and an age. and I want to write that information to a file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a variable called name, and I'll say input, and I'll say, what is your name? And I'm going to make a variable called age, and I'm going to say input, and I'm going to say, what is your age? Okay. And I'm going to run this, and my name is Paul, and my age is 99. And I look, and nothing happened because though I've taken the input, I haven't actually written them in there. So let's do that now. Write f.write name, f.write age, and then I give this a whirl. Paul 99, and we look and we get Paul 99. Now let's think about how we might structure this a little bit better. You know, one way to structure this might be to put a name and then put the age directly below it. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say name. I'm going to put \n at the end of the name. I'm going to put \n, and I give this a run. What is my name? Paul. And what is my age? 99. And now I have my name Paul, and I have my age 99 in the line below. That's the structure of my file. I know that is always name followed by age. And I run this again, I put, say, Stephanie, and I put 117, name followed by age. Now let's just close with this. Let's imagine every time I run my program, I wanted to actually add the name to the file, but I didn't want to erase the old names. And it's a really simple thing to do. All you do is you change this parameter here, W, to an A, which means append. And that means when I create a connection to this file, I'm going to leave whatever's in the file intact. And then I'm just going to add that, I'm going to append it or add it to the end. So if I run this, notice right now in my file is Stephanie 117. If I write John 55, there's John 55. I run it again, and I put Katie 10, and then it gets appended to the file. So this parameter makes a big difference in how Python manages the information in the file. I hope this video helped, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Have a wonderful day.